Okay, welcome to another episode of Primary Market Podcast. Today, I'm very excited to announce we have an awesome artist, Erik Sommer, and I'm super excited to chat with him. Erik, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the invitation.
No doubt. So, let's just dive right into. I always like to start with, excuse me, the childhood of the artist. What were the first inklings of you taking this path of the artist as a child?
Wow. That's a great question. I grew up in Minnesota. I'm from northern Minnesota.
I
And
hear it
I
a little.
was, hmm?
I hear it a little bit.
You can hear it. Yeah, sometimes it like creeps through a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I think I was first really drawn to music. I was a musician for a while. I made some money playing music.
whoa.
And I did that kind of in the early 2000s. And then
So, like, were you where Prince was, or like which part of Minnesota?
I was a drummer, and then I wrote the lyrics as well.
Whoa.
And so I was in a band in Duluth, Minnesota, and this was
Duluth.
Duluth, way up north.
Yo.
And this was like 2000, maybe to 2003 or so. And just hung out, was very much a part of that scene. But then kind of slowly realized that I liked I liked being alone in a studio working kind of on my own terms, as opposed to like now it's 9 p.m. now we have to go perform
Practice.
and play music.
Yeah.
And sometimes I didn't feel like I wanted to.
Wow.
So I was drawn to kind of the solitude of art, and then just really started painting when I turned 25. Was really when I really focused on it, and then decided, hey, I'm going to move to New York and be a painter. Let's do
Have a
that.
go at it. Wow.
And so just kind of like went for it and applied to grad schools and just kind of made it happen. But it seems like there was never any doubt. It just seemed like the right kind of common sense next step thing to do. And so, yeah, I just went for it. And so I think, and then just really just asking questions, meeting people, just going to shows, going to galleries, museums, just trying to see as much as I could. And then just talk to people and kind of maybe trade tips and tricks and just a lot of looking, and then just a lot of experimenting in the studio.
Wow. So you basically got your art education in New York when you got here.
Very
By
much.
the way, I'm in New York now too. So what
nice.
up?
Oh, very cool. Right on. Very, very much. I studied history as an undergrad. I didn't really take any art classes or anything. And then, very much educated by the city. A lot of shows, just going to a lot of shows, reading, do whatever I could do to immerse myself.
So did you have like a perspective on what it took to make it in the art market, like before you came, or like, what was your kind of like blueprint?
Right. I think I was pretty naive. I just kind of assumed that, hey, I'm going to, we did well and my band did well in Minnesota. So, we can do anything artistically. And so just kind of going to New York. But I think that helped in a lot of ways, just really going in there young, confident, just trailblazing, just going for it all in. And I think that's kind of the way you need to approach it. I think if there would have been any hesitation or even if there was like a negative feedback or something, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it. You know?
Yes.
I think that really helped.
And did you, at that time, and I want to get into like the path, the journey and modern day, but like at that time, did you have artists that you admired or, wanted to be like, or just loved, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I was first drawn to like the 50s kind of New York abstract expressionism thing.
Hell yeah.
And that was my introduction. And then I just kind of went both ways from there. I think then I went even back a little bit, Caravaggio or someone, and then even forward to like the first piece that just knocked my socks off was a Christo Jean Claude piece. And it was
Which one?
the rifle cannon, the orange curtain in rifle cannon.
Yo.
It was just like spread across the road. I was like, this is art? Like this is amazing.
Were you here when they did the gates?
I helped install it. I worked on that.
Yo!
I was one of like the people that worked on it. That was so awesome, dude. Yeah, that was like
I
such
just
a
got
cool
goosebumps.
experience.
You were
It just, like,
connected to that. It
yeah,
was so
definitely.
profound, man.
It was amazing. We worked on my little crew. We were near Columbus Circle, and we met, like they would come over and say hi to everyone, and it just, what a great like experience. It's beautiful.
That
Very,
really
very
is
cool. Very cool.
magnificent.
And that was so, their work really opened my eyes. We're not just talking about paintings anymore on a wall. Like you can do anything. And then of course from there I went to Basquiat, like everyone.
Yeah,
And then
we literally talk about that with everyone on this show.
it's just such like a touch mark, right? I mean, is it like he's influenced like everyone coming up, and it's the post graffiti kind of, I don't know, his mark is like
The underdog, the pop
energy.
culture, the beauty, the lack of rules. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Cool name.
I think his youth, is just so courageous and just so, he just again just like totally went all in. And I mean, some of it, especially like his younger work, it's just like so energetic. But I also love how raw it is too.
Yes.
And that was an eye opener to me. Is it can be kind of what is like finished. What is finished? What can that mean?
Whoa.
And I think there's different ways. Like to me, it's beautiful. His work is incredibly beautiful. But also, again, just kind of combining all these ideas of just energy, and I love leaving space on a canvas. I love kind of letting some raw canvas peek through, especially in the newer stuff. And just the idea of what art can be.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things that an artist can explore, because like as we progress as a species, that definition progresses and expands, and like that is really exciting to me.
Oh, for sure, totally.
Especially like like the things they were even exploring like in the 20s like seem modern and relevant today. And so like you as an artist are like living in the future, and that is like super exciting to me.
Yeah,
I think future of humanity.
Oh, for sure. And I think I'm curious to see kind of what happens next. Like how we're going to start. We can keep using technology. We can keep using, I don't know, AI, I guess. But I'm really excited to see kind of how people start manipulating the tools that we have, and how can we kind of break some rules and like really let's open this thing up a little bit.
Yo, you're part of it, man. It's really it's exciting to see. So all right, so now you come to New York with the Big Apple. What year roughly? And like, do you start painting immediately? Do you get an internship? How are you making moolah?
Right.
What's the shebang?
So we're talking 2003.
Okay,
I
was here, baby.
2003. Yep. So it's been that's 20 years. Uh-huh. I got into grad school. I got into the City College Studio program for my MFA.
Sick.
And so that was like everything that I wanted. It was I got a private studio in the city. And again, just talk about like an education. I mean, and that's the thing about MFA programs. They're not going to necessarily teach you how to paint. And even I remember my first drawing class, I told the professors like I don't really draw. He's like it's much more conceptual than just like sitting down and kind of like real fine art or really like life drawing or something. And so again, that was, I mean, it could have been a roadblock. But again, it wasn't. It was just more opportunities of, okay, well, again, you're given the green light to really just explore, kind of there's no rules kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so just keep going for it. And so, yeah, that was a 2-year program, private studio in the city, made some really good friends.
Wow. What neighborhood?
So that was up in Harlem, like 137, 37th and Broadway, kind of around there. Really pretty campus, really gothic campus. Really pretty.
Wow, 137 in Broadway.
Yeah, it was great, man. It's funny because I didn't have a BFA. And so I couldn't, there's only a few schools I could apply to. And I was just set on, I think I looked on the West Coast, but I was just set on like New York.
Yeah.
And I got into the program, and it was, we just like a few friends and I, we were just studio rats, dude. We were just there 24/7, just like working, man, just doing it. And it was so great. And we were given such liberty and just such a leeway.
Wow.
And just so much kind of free time to figure it out on ourselves.
So what was the stuff you were working on? What was going on with you emotionally and mentally, if you remember it all?
Wow.
Yeah. I love this stuff.
I'm sure I was just like excited. just beyond excited. I mean, it was like everything that, so this happened fast, by the time by the time when I started painting, by the time I got into MFA program, we're talking maybe like 2 years, 3 years. So I mean, it all happened pretty quick. And to me, I was like, all right, well, everything's right on plan. Again, kind of not knowing maybe that how kind of unordinary that is. But no, I was just super excited. I just loved every minute of it. I still love the city, obviously. And so at the time, I've always been really interested in kind of rough urban, kind of decay and layers and kind of peely, flaky kind of stuff. And so I was using, and I haven't much recently, but so I was using a lot of cement like on the canvas, just layering, and then kind of having it peel and break and then contain that.
And was that like, was that an expression of you like first being exposed to New York, or was that something you experienced in like, Duluth a little bit, like that urban decay a little bit, like,
Yeah. Definitely, I definitely have always been attracted to kind of back alleys and like, like the loft thing or like the old kind of factory kind of thing is just really beautiful to me. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's also just the architecture is so sound and strong and sturdy. And I love that places are being repurposed. So definitely I was, when I first started out, I was kind of throwing gravel in the gesso and just trying to make like a really rough plane, a rough surface just to start with. I think I picked that up from one of the ab expressionists.
So it was like almost an homage to the studio space.
I think so.
Wow.
And then obviously when you get to Manhattan, it's just like, it can be overwhelming. But I just used it. I used everything that I saw, and I kept using different materials and trying different things. And then eventually, I remember one night, our studios were kind of in the basement of like this forgotten building, sort of, and there was like a bag of like Portland cement mix, and I was like, well, I've been trying to recreate this. Let's just go straight to the source and use it and see what happens.
Hey.
And so I had a canvas. I was working on the floor, a canvas on the floor, some layers of stuff. I remember I still have it, like this little butter knife that I've used to spread my cement with. I'm looking at my to see if I have it. It's like this little butter knife that I took from my first apartment in the city. Sorry, roommate. So I layered the cement. So I layered the cement on.
That's unbelievable.
I still have it. No, yeah, absolutely. It's like this yellow thing.
You're looking like it's near you. So
it is. I'm in my little. It's like bright. I'm like, it should be like right over there.
Yo, that's
if I
crazy.
find it, I'll show it up.
Yeah.
But it's no. So then I kind of layered the cement on, put something on top of it, maybe gesso, maybe some other type of acrylic kind of paste thing, modeling paste or something. And then I remember coming back the next day, and I still have the piece. It was it had dried kind of in these cracked squares, and so it was kind of like it was curved off the canvas and like really flaky and just these curled up like you're just gonna before you prep a wall to paint or something like that, a deck or something. If it's all like the paint is just chipped off like that, like flaked, really flaked up. And I remember looking, I was like, wow, that could be a painting. It's on a canvas. It kind of checks all the boxes of what a painting could be. It's almost kind of like the Schnabel plate pieces. It almost sort of looked like that. And then I put a finish on it.
Were you working that big, or like how big was the canvas?
These weren't huge at the time. Maybe 3x3, 4x4, kind of around there. So not like ginormous, but like like nice size. Like I would work over it on the ground. I think the biggest piece. I did some bigger stuff like that. We're talking, we got up to like 6x5 or something. But that was using wood. Then eventually, if it gets heavier, I would move from canvas to wood. But I just remember that, and then I was like, all right, cool. Like this is something I want to keep doing. And I just learned how to control the material. And then I remember I took a sculpting course, and the professor challenged me to kind of bring this idea even more three-dimensional. So I remember I would walk on the way to the studio. I'd walk by, and there was this like tree that had fallen, and it was like a decent sized tree, 8-foot, 9-foot tree with like really great branches. And I just would like walk by and look at it, and I was like, that's interesting. And then one day I just brought it into the studio and gessoed it and put it up, and It was like so great. It was just like the coolest. It was just cool. I just like remember having it in my studio and just like looking at it. And again, not really knowing what it was yet, but just kind of knowing that it was something, at least like to myself.
So do you think you were just following pure inspiration, or were you like consciously trying to like accomplish something?
I think kind of both. I think I was definitely chasing a feeling or chasing just something, just kind of chasing nature in a lot of ways. So, like people ask what was my work about? It was about controlling time, like beauty and controlling time. And so trying to kind of get to a point of a natural decomposition and then just kind of like capturing it, freezing it, stopping it, and then admiring it.
Wow.
Yeah. So definitely, and then obviously like kind of like shithole studios that I'd have throughout the years, like in these old just gross buildings. But again, you're looking at them and the walls and the ceilings are falling down. You're like, well, this is kind of what I want right here. This like nice little installation thing, so there's always something to look at.
Man, it's just like life. Like wherever you are, there's always some kind of,
Yeah.
like magnificence.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, now you finished grad school and like you're wanting to continue to pursue, and like I also just have a quick question, like what was the path of the other people you were in grad school with? Were they going on to like be creative directors or like graphic designers, or like what percentage actually were like, all right, I'm going into I'm going to be like a freaking artist?
Yeah, it was. I remember the program being small. At any given time, there were, maybe like 8 to 12 people. Like the program was like pretty small,
that's
which
minuscule.
again was great. Was like great.
Yeah.
And I think it's maybe grown a bit since then, but it's still a very close knit community. I know some kind of went into like art, kind of administration. Some had kind of come from like a museum sort of curation background, so it kind of went that way.
Wow.
Some taught. A few went on to become teachers. And then one or two I'm still in touch with are just straight up artists.
In the game.
Like making the money from art, Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, we just kind of found a way to do it.
Yeah. And so that like, I've got to ask questions of like, how did like, okay, so like, how did you just start your career within the art community? Like, did you think you needed to get a gallery or a gallerist or some kind of representation, or like put your stuff on eBay, or like, what do you,
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
how were you thinking about it 20 years ago?
Yeah, exactly right. And so this is pre-Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer, if it was today, would just be like Instagram, obviously.
Yep.
But this is pre-Instagram. It was. So I remember. So I graduated, got my MFA, and then I moved to East Harlem and took a studio in East Harlem and had a studio there for 20 years.
So not far from the school.
Pretty close. And I should say I was during this too, to make ends meet, I was a librarian.
Oh, yo.
And so that was like the nice. And I met so many cool librarians that are just like musicians, and a lot of librarians are just cool. They have an artistic kind of bent.
Yeah.
It's a nice environment to be in. It's quiet. You can think. It's not real pressured. Air conditioned. So I was a librarian, but then I had a studio in East Harlem, and then again just kind of knew that I got a studio. This is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I do. Like I go to work and then I come back and then I work on the weekends, work all night, work just whenever, just in the studio, working. A few other friends from the program moved to like Brooklyn, Ridgewood, kind of that. So there was like I still had my kind of group of like a support system. And I definitely found artists in East Harlem as well, in Harlem proper. But like the Brooklyn thing was always sort of
near
there.
Rayo, that restaurant Rayo's. Like, where were you?
For the studio was 107th and 3rd. So, but there's like a Dwayne Reed and a Chase on 106, and then it's just a block up. It's near. There's like two buildings that are catty corner from each other that are just artist studios. Really pretty, really cool building. Really pretty building. Like 5 floors maybe of just raw space. It was awesome.
Wow.
Super cool. And I kept it until, I just gave it up, honestly.
Wow.
That studio, I had it forever.
Who was your landlord? Like, was your landlord a little old lady, or what was the vibe?
It was a family. It was a family, and I think they own a lot of East Harlem, and so they kind of they were supportive. They were cool. They didn't really raise the rent that much or anything. They just kind of, I feel like they were just kind of sitting on the buildings until one day they're gonna like sell it.
Sell to a developer or something.
But it was I was able to at least to have the space for a really nice extended amount of time.
Wow.
Which is, and that's the thing too, is like all these little things that artists have to put up with where, I mean, if you're always kind of looking over your shoulder, worrying about like your studio or worrying about whatever, finding a job or rent or all this kind of stuff, it makes it even more difficult,
That's the nature of being an artist in New York. And, I definitely want to get into that. Like, with Instagram, like, is it as necessary today to be, in New York or LA?
I don't know. I've had conversations with that about people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a couple of things. I think being in New York, at least for me personally, I was able to just meet a lot of other artists, galleries, curators. I think there is something to be said about being in the middle of it, and having people see your work in real life. I think that's. Or like someone reaches out, it's like, oh, cool, well, come to the studio. I'm in wherever, and then it's like so convenient, and those steps can happen naturally or organically. I think Instagram is obviously a tremendous tool for bringing people together, for discovering artists. I've definitely been in shows where, I've met people through Instagram. They've never necessarily seen my work in real life, but I just send the work and I'm in the show and everything works out. But then I think it's both. I think that if I was a young artist starting out and I could afford it, I would definitely go to like New York or LA or Berlin or Copenhagen or someplace. If nothing else, just for like the experience,
Yeah.
And then maybe kind of once you get settled or a little bit, maybe then, for me personally then, my wife and I, we got a little bit of land upstate. So I'm about 2 hours north now of the city. I kind of split my time between the city and the Catskills.
Oh, awesome!
And just for me, it was like the right time to make that move.
Is she an artist also?
She was a musician, and now she's a beekeeper actually.
No,
she keeps bees up here, and it's just awesome. Yeah, she's like doing really well. She just got a degree from Cornell. They have this like master beekeeper degree.
Wow!
So she's just like taking off with that and just loving it.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. And
it's
so,
neat.
like, does that like mean selling honey, or like, how do you monetize that?
She sells honey. She sells candles.
Wow.
She sells and makes. The business that she's kind of helping start will also, you can online order like the material, like the equipment and whatnot. And so the big kind of a nice resource for other beekeepers really in the nation, honestly, just to get equipment and stuff as well.
That is so awesome. And I've seen some incredible businesses of transporting bees. Basically, have you ever seen that? So ultimately, like the blueberry farms need bees or something like that every year.
I believe it.
And like those bee transporters, they make millions, dude. Millions.
Sure.
I saw one for sale.
Totally.
So I was looking for a business for sale, and like I saw this bee transporter. I was like, I'm not messing with this, but
that's cool.
Get on it.
That's really cool.
And start transporting those bees to the blueberry farms up in Maine.
Nice. That would be a great life, huh?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No. So, I digress. So ultimately, you're up in, so with Instagram, like how has that changed you, or like how has your work evolved like within this modern day? And then I just have to like quickly ask, and we'll get back to it, but just so I don't forget, like, what was your approach, or what is your approach to connecting with galleries and collectors and kind of building a name and career for yourself?
Yeah. I think they kind of go hand in hand in some sort of way. I think for myself personally, I've always just kind of known the type of work that I wanted to make. And I've been lucky enough to be kind of given that freedom to make it.
Wow.
I think that as opposed to sort of, you want to be, it's, at least for me personally, if I kind of got like pigeonholed into like this one sort of idea, that would be really difficult for me. And so really just kind of sticking to my guns and, so to this day, I'll still paint, I'll still sculpt, I'll still do these like cement installation things. So just there's like there's always kind of a different idea that I can be looking at or working on. And for me, it just scratches a lot of itches, I guess. It's just something that I sort of need to do. So I think, again, I think artists know when they're ready for curators and galleries to come around.
Wow.
I guess you don't want it to happen too soon, right? At least personally, like I really wanted, I was like, all right, like I'm ready. I'm like steady. I'm like mature.
Yeah.
I can stand up for myself a little bit. And I think that's like a lot of it too.
Wow.
It's like maybe pushing back a little bit.
Yes.
Because again, just thinking super long term. And so, for me, that took, maybe a year or two after grad school to really find my feet again. But then got picked up. There was a gallery in the Lower East Side called Rooster Gallery that was around for a handful of years on Orchard Street, and started working with them. And that was my first like kind of gallery introduction to that world. And that was a good experience. But then I think, so then also with Instagram, it's the same sort of thing. I think with Instagram, it's just so funny, like how curated people's profiles, but I guess they kind of have to be. But the idea of, I think about this all the time too, because if I go to my Instagram, I'm looking back at posts from 10, 15 years ago, and it's like older work, and I'm like, well, should I keep it or should I just really focus on like the new stuff?
Wow.
And then so I just kind of I've been lazy. I haven't really deleted anything, but I don't know. I don't mind having people being able to see all
your progress.
The different things, exactly, and the different like ideas and the different. It's like, all right, cool. So he's a sculptor, but he's a painter, but he's like a curator, but like all these things. And again, I think it's fine. I think that's totally 100% fine. As opposed to, maybe we'll talk about some new work that I'm fired up about as well. So maybe down the road, maybe it will just be only the new work on Instagram. But then I'm kind of like, it's also Instagram sort of like my living archive too, though. I'm sure I have images of this work like other places, but it's just so handy to have it there.
Well,
and then if I need to go, if I need to like look at something and be like, what year was that? What size was that? It's like right there. It's like super easy. So I must use it more for myself than like promotion.
I feel that. Well, they have the archive button that you can archive then like de-archive,
That's a good idea. All right, maybe I'll start playing with that.
But and so would you consider your paintings to be sculptures, or you then got into doing sculpture at that studio where now you're at Rooster, and then like or like once you get that gallery representation and it's like, all right, you're working at the library or something, but man, you really want this stuff to sell. Like, what is the game that you started to play, or like did you start to have the network, or like how did you meet the gallerist, or like convince them to pick up your stuff? I'm saying this like to get a historical perspective of what you were doing, but also like for anyone out there listening, like trying to kind of get gallery picked up by a gallery.
For sure. I remember going to a lot of openings. I remember just meeting people, not like in a sleazy kind of way, but like just kind of being around and just naturally just being, number one, just trying to be normal, I think. Just trying to be normal, but also just meeting as many people as you can, networking, people know people. But see, for me too, and this comes in as a curator, my whole thing is I just want to help people.
Yeah.
And I think that if people are good and kind and help each other, like both people win. I don't think there's not like a set amount of like we can only have 500 artists. We're at you're number 502. We got to, like, I think that there's enough room for everyone, right? Yeah. And so I have no problem like helping people. And again, you're not using people so they'll help you. It's just like a genuine, like, he's my friend or she's my friend. Like, I love their work. I'm going to do what I can to promote them or introduce them to people. If I think there's like a good fit, if they're not being seen, like, what can we do to support each other? So I think as far as finding, I mean, it's like weird. It's like once you find that first gallery, it's like getting signed to like a record label, right? I mean, it's like it's a confirmation, and it's also just like, all right, now you can kind of step back a minute and maybe let someone else do all of that sort of promotion and administration sort of stuff that you had to do.
And I think it's important at every level, like even the greatest living artists, at the top who are making millions per work, like they've got a machine going too, a promotional machine, that like 100%. To make sure that those works continue to
absolutely, and that's
that momentum.
And I think and again, there's something about if I introduce an artist to someone, that's way different than if I try to introduce my own work to someone. I don't know. There's like it just kind of looks better maybe if it comes from someone else.
Yeah.
So I think that like galleries, that definitely helps too.
Wow.
Now they can kind of do all that stuff for me.
And even though they have skin in the game of your work, it at least says that they've put thought and effort and energy into selecting you as your work to represent or whatever.
Totally. Absolutely. 100%. And I think that, we've kind of talked about this earlier too. I think that there's definitely been like invitations or extensions of offers that I've just turned down. But for me, again, that's just, it needs to be a good fit both ways. It needs to be a gallery that I'm comfortable with, that I trust, that I think kind of gets me. I guess in the real world we'd call it culture. I don't know, it has to be like a good culture.
Cultural fit, yeah.
Cultural fit. So I think that, but again, that's just me. Like I'm sure there's people that just jump at everything, and that's fine. That's totally cool. Whatever, however they want to do it.
Yep.
I can just speak for myself. Yeah.
So so now like Rooster Gallery, like what were the kind of the next steps in like what you were creating, and then
nice.
What were
my first show is a cool gallery. It's upstairs, downstairs. My first show was just
Orchard and what?
It was on Orchard and close to Houston, pretty close to Houston.
Oh.
So like kind of like northern, like Upper East Side or Lower East Side, kind of. Not near Delancey, but closer up toward like.
I was picturing
Katz,
Orchard
like
and
Katz
Delancey.
Is around there. Yeah, it's like a little bit up. Like Katz is around there. Like it was a cool spot, man. It was one of my favorite neighborhoods still in the city, for sure.
It's a vibe.
So my first show was just canvas, and it was fine. And then I remember. So then what I wanted to do. So the second show was canvases upstairs. And then downstairs, I did this cement installation of a New York City apartment. So there was like a chair, a table, a lamp, like a stereo system, maybe something else, painted on the wall. I don't know. It was like this cement sculpture stuff that I was into. And so I thought that was cool. That was great.
So everything was cemented, like covered in cement?
Exactly. Just brushed it into cement, painted into cement. It's bomb, dude. I'll try to send you some photos or something later.
Yeah, please.
But it was cool, and it just kind of fit into this like space downstairs. God, it was like so cool. And so then I was like, all right, so I'm kind of into the cement thing. So I ended up doing. Yeah.
So you really learned how to work with cement. I know you mentioned like you spent some time like totally. If I tried to do that, because I actually tried to do something with like just pouring cement in a bucket recently, and I couldn't get enough water, and it was not easy. So I couldn't imagine doing that.
It definitely took some learning. But it's funny because then I would kind of get invited to these shows, and I'd be like, yeah, but I want to do this like cement thing, and they're like, okay. And I did one where it was like a room being painted, so there's some drywall that's like kind of half cemented, and then a ladder and a drop cloth. And then I went to Berlin and did it was like a laundry, like a dry cleaner kind of, with like a ironing table and some like shirts hung up.
Whoa.
And then maybe the biggest kind of stupidest one, maybe I did a Volvo 240, like a 1980s
Wow. Yeah,
Volvo,
the boxy Volvos.
which was like such a pretty car.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
I did that in
gorgeous.
Red Hook. The space for that was a shipping container in Red Hook.
Wow.
And so with some installations, I always try to want to sort of tie in some type of like history or story with the place if I could. So this is like a shipping container. I'm like, all right, well, what could we ship? And I kind of wanted to do something just big. And so I remember looking at cars, and I remember looking at like the 80s, like Honda Civics, because they had to be like a certain kind of size car,
Yep.
right? So like those
Yep.
Civics are like that, those old BMWs are like that. And then I just found a Volvo, and I love those Volvos.
Oh.
I mean, they're such great cars. And so I bought it for like $500 from someone upstate,
Good
and then
job.
just like drove into Red Hook and did it on
You bought
site
it
in Red
drivable.
Hook. It made it to Red Hook.
Dude.
It did make it. It did make it. And I feel bad. I didn't tell the person what I was going to do with it.
Whatever.
I just kind of did it. But worked on site, installed it. It's just awesome, dude. And that was kind of my whole like, I'm just gonna go big, and and that was, I don't know if I've done an installation, or maybe I've done a couple more, but I just wanted to go I just wanted to go big and just like see what I could get away with.
Roughly what year was that? Because there was so much like cool art going on in Red Hook. Like remember Still House and like
I love Red Hook, dude.
I
Yeah.
know.
This was, okay, let me think for a minute. Maybe 2014 or 15?
Yeah, I feel like that
Around
was like
there?
peak
Kind of
art Red
right
Hook.
around there? Yeah, definitely. I feel like Pioneer Works was sort of getting, or maybe had
Yeah, they
gotten
started
going,
around
but was like sort of
2011.
getting going.
Yeah,
so like,
so they
yeah,
were
it was
just
like
getting
picking up
there.
in steam. Yeah. Red Hook was cool, man. I really liked it. That was fun. That was great. And then that piece actually got picked up to be at a show in Mana Contemporary in Jersey City. This museum, there was like a show that Brooklyn Rail put on.
Wow.
So that piece got put in that. But then the thing about these, and then I was like, well, now what do I do with this piece? Like, now what? Like the car, like, what do I do?
Yeah, yeah.
So I ended up selling it for like scrap and like broke even. So it was awesome.
Oh,
It like totally worked out. It was like, now it's gone. There it was, and now it's gone. Yeah, so just like, it totally worked out. And that's like been the story of our career. Things just sort of work out like that. I guess
Yeah.
if you kind of throw something out there, I would definitely like work really hard to make it happen. But, I wasn't straddled with this Volvo in Brooklyn.
right. Like
sitting
paying
there.
for parking. Yeah.
Exactly. I made it happen. So
Wow.
yeah, that was great. I'll send you some pictures. They're
Yeah.
they're good photos.
I really want to see because.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you're creating at this time, like, what were your kind of artistic ambitions, and
Yeah.
then like, how was that evolving, and then how was the work evolving?
I think the ambition was always to be able to make art full time, but also allow myself to kind of be in control of it, of my career as much as I could. Obviously, when you're working with galleries and curators, you do need to let go of a lot of things. You can't micromanage or whatnot. You do need to kind of trust people and
Yeah, let them cook.
really let them do it. But at the same time, not being afraid to say no, I think has really been beneficial.
How do you find
So,
those
yeah,
boundaries? How do you define that? Like, what's your internal compass for that?
I think and you can kind of get a read on people. I think if kind of their intentions aren't the same as mine, or if I just feel like it wouldn't, short term it might be something, but long term it's not something I would be proud of, then that's probably when I'll say no.
Can you give like a little example?
Oh,
Not without calling anyone out, but just like
yeah.
just something to help like understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I think that I mean, if like a vanity gallery or something approached me, obviously I'd probably be like, and it sounds like a great opportunity, but then you kind of dig around it a little bit and you're like, that's probably not again, it's like kind of who you're associated with.
Wow.
So it's making these decisions of just kind of associations and
Yeah. So essentially, would you say that how would you define a vanity gallery?
I guess if you pay to show work, basically, if like if you pay someone, if you just pay to like have a show, like, hey, your work is great, $1,000 will put a show up for like a week, and it's just like, yeah, it's not.
Right.
Something like that.
But,
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that definitely. Well, so you're not saying like some galleries will just like kind of bastardize the work or something to like bore it out or something.
Right. Maybe like if you kind of look at what they've done or sort of how they handle things,
Not pay.
just like, yeah. I mean, not paying, not treating the artist well, reputation, all these kinds of things. Totally. 100%. Totally.
So being on the front lines, like, you're like, I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but like,
Let's go.
you hear so often that like today's art market is changing so much. Like they're doing the U-Haul galleries in Chelsea.
Yeah, that's
like,
cool.
All kinds of like, old established institutions are closing. Like, what's your take on that and like where the puck is going?
I love it. I think interesting times, right? A lot of galleries are closing, or a lot of galleries are kind of reorganizing, sort of how they handle things. And again, so a few things. I think that, again, with Instagram, you can, number one, you can be an artist from anywhere, but also you could have a gallery anywhere as well. You want to, obviously, like the in real life thing is very, very important, and it has to exist. But I think also if you take good pictures and, you can put it on Instagram and work with good artists, like you can run a space that way. So I opened up a space called Mott Projects, MOTT Projects. And I do same sort of thing. I had an old barn in Catskill that I had been using as a studio that I just started putting on shows.
Wow.
And was like super select with a lot of the artists I worked with. And it wasn't the biggest space in the world. It was kind of raw, but just beautiful and awesome. And I think that, and I got a lot, I started working with Platform, the David Zwirner, like a lot of really great connections and again, kind of confirmations that came through with that. And so I think that I love the fact that you can open up a gallery in your apartment. Again, and this is, we're not the first people to do this. This has been going on for years, alternative spaces and artist-run spaces and stuff. But I'm all for it. I think, again, I think the more art that can be seen, I think is only a benefit. It's only beneficial. It's only a good thing. I don't see any downside to people showing their work, If it's not to my taste, that's one thing, but I'm not going to knock, it's not, that's cool. Let's go to the next show,
So what are the factors that, make you gravitate towards selecting a piece in your curation for Mott or just in general?
Yeah. It's funny, I'm in my studio, my little office building, there's a Niels Gendry behind me and there's a bunch of Martin Pakistan and it's just, if I'm drawn to it, I'm drawn to. It's been such a good occurrence because I'm kind of drawn to this kind of raw, unfinished sort of mark making or Niels uses a lot of spray paint. So I'm kind of drawn to a certain aesthetic, but if it catches my eye and then kind of chat with the artist, and if they seem like something that we'll get along, then we just do it. There hasn't been that many really, we've had maybe 12 or 15 shows. There haven't been that many sort of difficult artists, which is great. And then, obviously then I can look at the work and I'm drawing inspiration from it or trying to learn things from it as well. At the same time, just trying to help them. And I usually try to buy one piece from every show. So I have a pretty nice little collection going right now. But yeah, just seeing art, whatever catches my eye, and I'll just kind of know in a second, boom, that's great. That's what what is this? Who is this? That's they tend to be kind of emerging, but that's wonderful.
Yeah, you're kind of helping kind of propel them forward.
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I hope so. Yeah.
So
yeah.
So what kind of led you towards the curation side?
I think it was. And so I remember when I started, when I started my projects, I remember making like the logo. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I didn't really, and then I bought the URL, but I still didn't really know what it was going to be yet. But I started just like, if you go on early on, like 2019, it's just a lot of interviews with friends and artists. And so I started out with that. I knew that I always wanted to do something in real life, like put on shows. And it wasn't until I found like a barn upstate that I decided that it could work, and it did work. And so yeah, a lot of it was just helping people. A lot of it was, I mean, when you curate a show like this, you really get to know that person, that artist, but also that person. And I'm very good friends now with a lot of the people that have worked with me.
Wow.
And so
that's really rewarding.
Just really nice, very rewarding. Just to really, I felt like I was in a position where I could afford to, it's not cheap to put on a show, but I could afford to put on a few shows a year, 4 or 5 shows a year. And even with that small amount, it wasn't year round, it was seasonal. But again, that even led to being able to be even more selective with who I was showing, what I was showing. And it's great. It's I didn't do anything this past summer, but I think I'm going to fire it up again next year. I just found a new studio in Catskill, New York. I'm super excited about it. So I might fire it up maybe next summer. Maybe we'll try to do something.
Wow.
We'll see.
And how do you attract collectors?
Poof. Yeah, that's great. It's funny. It's you definitely pay for promotion. You pay for marketing, pay for ads, just getting the gallery out there, getting your name out there. And then a lot of it is
on Facebook or Google or just
it was I did a lot of like Gallery Now. Like you'd pay for like kind of big like email blasts to be a part of, or
that's cool.
Even some like Brooklyn Rail or like other magazines, you kind of buy a little thing just to get like an ad or whatnot.
Yeah.
But then also definitely Instagram, definitely Reddit, Facebook.
Reddit.
I don't use Facebook as much, but like Facebook. But like Reddit's a thing, man. Yeah. Reddit's cool. Or it can be.
Yeah.
But people use Reddit. Mostly Instagram, honestly. And then just like my email list, of collectors and people that I meet. People come to the openings. People would reach out. They'll see something.
Wow.
And then once they email me, then they're getting emails from me forever.
Yeah.
So there's that. They started it. No, it's cool.
They click that box.
Exactly. So it's just like, again, it's kind of a slow, and I tell people, it's like, hey, it's not, we're not in Bushwick. It's not going to be like 500 kids at the opening, but there's definitely collectors upstate.
Smoking rolled cigarettes.
Everyone's exactly. And people upstate are cool, man. Like people, they're definitely like an artistic scene, definitely artistic people, creative people.
Yeah.
And so it's a different scene, but it's
older.
It's a little bit more mature. Exactly. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
A little bit older. Yeah.
And so, like, how do you kind of think that AI is going to change? I mean, we kind of touched upon it, but like, how do you think that AI is going to affect people's work and the market in general?
I don't know. I just realized that because I use AI for things, for writings and whatnot. I'm sure everyone does, or just to like mess around. But then I realized I was looking at something today, and this person was going through how they used AI to like land a job, and like the approach that they took with AI was like so much more, like the prompts and stuff they were putting in were like as a like, whole different level than how I've been using it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like this is, I'm not even like touching like like any of the surface of this AI thing.
Right.
Because I'll use it for like, okay, here's some keywords I need to write like a press release. Like, give me something that I can kind of like go off of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do like some of the hard work for me.
One dimensional.
Yeah, exactly.
They're taking it to friggin' 4D chess.
Exactly, dude. Like like so beyond anything. And I think, but wasn't there like a musician? Didn't some create like an AI musician, and then they had like a top like 40 hit or something? But like the band is like AI or something. I think I read that.
Probably.
Which, I mean, again, that's like, that's kind of cool. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Like, can it be so formulaic that we're such robots that like the heart of humanity is not necessary anymore in art?
I don't know. I don't know. Because when I look at AI, I can tell it's AI though, right? Can you,
Exactly.
like, if you look at a picture, there's still something about it.
Yep.
There's like a yellow, like there's something about it to me, or it's like a little slightly cartoon, even for like a
Yes.
picture of a person.
Exact
It's like
human being.
something's
Yeah.
a little bit off, right? You can just kind of tell. So I think that, I don't know. I mean, so how would that work though? If I tried to create an AI painting, so if I put in prompts and then had it print out something or 3D printed something, and then I went to a show, would I be able to know if I just saw it in real life?
But
I don't know.
but still, I think that if it's done with your prompts, it's still human.
Right. That's a
You
really
know,
good point, right?
if it's just
For
like
sure.
created, then it really is just like the equivalent of the paint and the canvas. But like when it
Yeah.
starts like auto creating,
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's kind of where we're going, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just really letting it, just like turning it on and just like go to town.
yeah.
Oof.
But even that could theoretically, like, back to what I was saying, like in the beginning of the podcast, like if it's pushing the definition of like of the human experience, like
Hmm.
it does maybe have value.
I think so. But I think, sure, because I'm sure that using screens or using sort of the idea of like digital art, I mean, and I think people can still use it and still sort of manipulate it in ways that aren't done yet, but that's an accepted form of art now, you know? And it's not like a pure, oil on a canvas sort of thing. So no, I think that, but I don't even, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if anyone really knows what AI is capable of yet,
And we're about to find out.
Yeah, yeah.
So so in the last 10 minutes of the podcast, I want to hear your like perspective or your like inspiration for this kind of philosophy of decay or impermanence or you know whatever you were trying to convey with the cement and throughout these
Yeah.
works that are beautiful.
Sure, thank you. I think my inspiration. This is so stupid. I remember when I was in
Hell yeah.
Duluth. I was in like Duluth. I was in Duluth, and I remember I'd probably had drank some beers or whatnot. But I remember walking outside, and it was like just like this cold kind of Duluth night where it gets dark at like 4 o'clock. But it was this old bar we'd always go to, this back alleyway, and it was just so striking and comfortable and just like eye-catching. And again, I'm not the first person to be attracted to this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I remember it like
With a lot of people, by the way.
a lot. I'm sure, yeah, totally, absolutely, 100%. But I remember it had rained. It had rained, and like the puddles were yellow, and it was just like this like really kind of fantastical like moment in my life. And so I think it's obviously trying to capture what I see, but I think a lot of it too is just trying to capture what I feel or how it makes me feel. And so, the best feeling in the world is when I finish a painting or a piece of work and I haven't shared it with anyone. It's just kind of mine for like a night or like a day or 2 days.
Wow.
And it's kind of like the world's biggest secret. And I just like know, like, I'm just like in love with it. I'm super stoked and happy. And I don't know. It's just like yours for a minute, right? And then you kind of you choose to put it out there, and then it kind of does its own thing. But there's that moment of like, and that's the thing about an artist being alone in the studio. Like all these magic moments happen when sort of no one else is with you. But again, that's like the life that we choose. That's the kind of a long-winded. I don't even know if I answered it, but I think so. I think. Obviously living in like New York City, always being attracted to like sort of the coffee shop, kind of like indie punk scene or whatever that always sort of takes place or meets up in these sort of kind of rough, raw spaces anyway. It's like such a poetic thought though, right? Just like a raw space and just like making art, making music, sort of trying to be a poet. I think that's what draws me to it. And then it's just trying to help people experience what I experience and see what I see, and hopefully recognize it or appreciate it as much as I do.
And do you have any suggestions or recommendations for anyone trying to make it in the art world, either as a gallerist, a collector, or of course an artist?
Jeez. I think you just have to know why you're doing it. I think and then just stick to it, like really know yourself, know what you want to do, know why you want to do it, and then just do it. And then I think that the world is big enough where whatever, you talk about levels of success or something, but I think that if you stick to it and just remain true to yourself and your vision, that sounds kind of cheesy, but I think that eventually good things will happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, really true. That momentum just compounds.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Over time, you just stick with anything.
Yeah, I think so. I think I think that. So yeah, I guess my advice is just go do it. Just if you want to do it, just go do it, and then just see what happens.
Incredible. And then
how about that?
And in the last, is there anything you'd like to kind of promote or say or share?
Wow. I mean, thank you. This is great. Super cool. I love like all the other people you've spoken with as well. So thank you for that. This is great, dude. I love it. I would guess just, support your galleries, support your libraries, support your museums, shop locally.
Yeah.
No, just be try to like bring something into the world. Let's like support each other and be interesting and be creative and help each other.
That is awesome.
How about that?
Amazing. All right. Well, Erik, thank you so much for coming on Primary Market Podcast. Yes. It was so fun to get to know you and hear your story and shoot the breeze.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. This was tremendous. So thank you for everything you're doing. Really appreciate the invitation.
And we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
All right.
Take care.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.